Are you constantly worried about what other people think of you? Are you trying to be something you're not in order to seek approval or validation from those around you? Or even worse, do you look in the mirror and find it hard to love or even like the person looking back at you? This is the thing, we compare ourselves so much to other people. We worry so much about what other people think that we often, don't even like ourselves or even love ourselves because we just don't think we're good enough. But that love has to come from within first. We need to validate ourselves first in order to actually find it in the external world. We have to get to a place where we are just so beautifully, authentically ourselves that we don't care or don't need the approval of others. We have to seek that love within. We have to first love ourselves. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is our biggest, enemy, that need for validation. Because of our wounding, because of our childhood trauma, because of narcissistic relationships, we have always felt lacking. We have felt unworthy of unconditional love. And if we don't love ourselves, we're constantly kind of seeking it outside of ourselves. We are always thinking we're not enough. We think that we have to be something else in order to fit into this world. And this is what bugs me. You know what I mean? We're putting on this persona, this fake personality, to be liked by people whose opinions don't even matter. The only opinion that matters is your own. And the only way we can thrive in this world is by loving ourselves. Everything we seek, we are seeking outside, but everything we seek is actually within us. And I know how difficult it is. I really do. Especially with, inner child wounding. I've spoken about this before. We don't actually necessarily have to have had a traumatic childhood in order to have wounding. But your perception of trauma might be different to another person's. So you might think that you might have had this perfectly good household with, a solid upbringing, so both parents present. But there may have been toxic dynamics. The religious factors, cultural factors, substance abuse factors, arguments within the relationship, even simple things like this, or even being reprimanded as a child for for crying. This is trauma. Anything that affects us internally, that affects that abandonment, rejection wound, that is trauma. I see it with so many people, especially, in adult life. They're like, I don't cry, I haven't cried in years. That's probably because when you were a child and you were crying, you were left crying, or you were told to shut up, and that crying was childish. This is why we end up, seeking that love externally, because as a child we felt we didn't get validated, we didn't get what we needed. So we're spending our whole lives trying to fit into a world that we don't fucking fit into in order to be validated by people that don't fucking matter. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but other people's opinions of you do not matter. Be weird. Be weird. Be different. Be everything that you are. Because we love you for your authenticity, not for your falseness, right? But you need to love yourself first. And how do we do that? And it's not easy. We're constantly seeking outside. We're constantly ending up in toxic relationships, in toxic friendship dynamics, in toxic family dynamics, because we're trying to fit in somewhere that we're seeking that validation. That's what codependency is as well, where we might overhelp people pleasing, all that kind of stuff, for the need for that validation. In order to feel loved, we have to do everything for everyone else and do nothing for ourselves. No, this is not it. But that constant seeking outside, that constant need for external validation, that actually makes us more insecure, because we're not getting that validation. Because if you don't love yourself, and I've known this, if you don't love yourself, if you don't like yourself, that's going to reflect out into your external world. It really is. And you are going to attract situations and dynamics, or, perceive these dynamics, that people don't like you, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy. Why would anyone love you? That's what goes on in your head. And I know this for a fact, because I was in 2 toxic relationships in my 20s, and I don't even remember. Like, as a teenager, I was so insecure as well. You know what I mean? And I can't remember ever really loving myself. You know, I think I did like myself as a teenager, but I don't know if I loved myself. And obviously in my toxic relationships, I was told that I wasn't any good. I was told I was a useless piece of shit. So, you know, I constantly saw that in the mirror. So I stopped looking in the mirror. I really did. You know, I find it so difficult to look in the mirror at any time. And I remember when I was out of another toxic relationship, this was early 2018, it was February, it was my birthday, and we were over in Amsterdam for my 30th. And me and my friends were at a bar, and, you know, there was a mirror on the wall, and she, you know, I was so drained and really emotional after the breakup of the relationship. Not because he was a good person, it was because I was after being, you know, I was left on my own again. And it was that need for validation. And I was such a, you know, my inner child was screaming out to be loved. And I was just in a really bad place. And like, she was like, look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself. And I looked in the mirror and I just started crying. And I was just like, I can't. That would be a lie. Because at the time, I didn't even like myself. And that was heartbreaking. But within a fucking year, I was able to say, yes, I do. Because I worked on myself. Because I discovered that external validation, that didn't matter. I was looking for it in all the wrong places. And that's the thing. When we're so desperately seeking outside, it's desperation. So we end up going for it in the wrong places. That's why we end up attracting toxic relationships, is because we will latch on to any bit of love. And those narcissists pretend so well that we end up getting sucked in. And we just end up in this state of constantly comparing ourselves to others. And it's not even just about, you know, looks. It's about our personality. I'm so different, you know, to that person, and that person is loved. So therefore I have to be more like that person. No. Be more like you. You know what I mean? And I know it's hard because a lot of the times we are so different, but it's so good to be different. It's so good to be weird. It's so good to let that freak flag fly. It's so good to be authentic. You know, and a lot of people aren't going to accept that. But they're, you know, this is the thing. It's like, I can't be myself because people are going to judge me. People who judge are going to fucking judge you anyway. Because you know why they're judging you? They're judging you because they're jealous. They're judging you because you're doing it so much differently to their doing it. You're escaping the matrix. You're being authentic. And that's why they're judging. But like, you know, even if you started to be like them or pretended to be like them or put on that persona like them, which you may have done, we all have done it, they're going to judge you anyway. If somebody's not happy in their life, they're going to fucking judge you. So why be false or fake when you're going to be judged anyway? Why not be real and let them judge you? Fucking let them. Who gives a shit? Do you know what I mean? No one's opinion matters except yourself. And I know how difficult it is. You know, I use this tool to learn to love myself. I used to have very severe anger issues. You know, I had inherited anger. I had a lot of built up inner child anger, just so much anger. Now I'm still working on that because I still get bouts of triggers at times, but I'm not half as bad. But at one stage I was really, really, really toxically angry all the time. And, you know, I'd shout at my animals, my dogs, and, you know, it'd break my heart. I'd go back afterwards and I'd give them a cuddle. And they'd look at me as if I'd never fucking shouted at them. And I'm like, the fuck are they doing looking at me like this? You know, why are they loving me like this? You know, I was so down in myself. I was like, why is my dog looking at me as if the sun shines out on my fucking arse? It shocked me. But I was on my healing journey and I just turned around and I said, look, I must be doing something right if my dog can look at me like that. And, you know, if you have a child, it's the same thing. It's that unconditional love. And it's only when you have a pet or a child that you actually understand what unconditional love is. And you're like, okay, what? This is different. Why is this person or this animal looking at me like I'm actually a good person? Because, you know, we don't think we're a good person, and that's why we don't love ourselves. Because we have made mistakes, we all do. But, like, I just kept looking at my dog and I was like, you know, why are they looking at me like this? And, you know, I was like, I have to be doing something good if they can still love me after I just shouted at them. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm going to become the person they see. And that's what I set out to do. I said, obviously, that person is in there. that lovable person is in there if my dogs can love me. So I decided my goal is to become the person my animals see. And that's what I did. And that's, it was that as well as inner child healing. So that's what I strived for. So I discovered how to love myself. And the way we love ourselves is by meeting our inner child. We come to meet the inner child that's crying out to be loved. And that's the thing. I only discovered this after so many repeated patterns. Every toxic relationship, narcissistic abuse everywhere, narcissistic bosses, narcissistic friends, narcissistic partners. I was just like, this is weird. Why am I attracting narcissistic people all the fucking time? Has to be something going on here. So I discovered that it was my wounded inner child, my lack of self-love, that led me to attract toxic dynamics. And that's the thing. My need for external validation came from my wounded inner child. And that's what I needed to do. I needed to reparent, re-love, and validate my inner child. And in loving my inner child, I was able to love myself. It is actually that simple. It's hard to do inner child healing because it can get very deep. But in loving her, I was able to love myself. And I no longer seek for external validation. That's the thing, right? This is the codependency dynamic. We're seeking outside ourselves for the need to be loved, the need to be protected, because we didn't feel that love and protection as a child. But you become your own lover and your own protector. And that's what's the beauty of it. After my toxic relationships, the second one anyway, I was after, the first one was really, really bad. So I knew that was definitely the end. But after my second one, I felt so wounded and alone. There was a part of me that wanted to repair that relationship. No. There was because my inner child was feeling so wounded again. And that's why we keep going back to toxic dynamics, is because it's like, I can't be alone. This conscious feeling of, I have to be protected. I have to be in a relationship. And this is another thing why people are in the wrong relationships, is because they don't fucking love themselves. And they're like, I need somebody to love me, so therefore I'm going to stay in this toxic dynamic. That's what it is. And I know it's unconscious. But we end up dating, lots. I can't think of the word. Serial dating. There you go. We end up doing serial dating. We end up, constantly seeking outside ourselves to be in relationships. That was me for a long time. It was like, I can't be on my own. I can't be on my own. I can't be on my own. And no, yes, you can. And we get judged for being on our own. That's another thing. We're like, what are people going to think of me if I'm single? What if people are going to think of me if I don't do this job? What are people going to think of me if I don't do it this way? What if I don't play by the fucking societal fucking toxic rules? What are people going to think of me? Stop thinking about that. Stop it. Stop. No. Who gives a fucking shit? Do it your way. Do it the right way. In fairness, you're following sheep off a cliff because you care what people think. You're doing things that are wrong and are unmoral, immoral, not moral. I don't know what the word is. You're doing things that are against your values to fit into a world that is toxic. You're doing things against what's good for you and your soul and your heart because you think somebody's going to judge you. If you don't get married by 30, you're going to be judged. If you don't do this by 30, if you don't do this, fuck, age is only a number. No one is really an adult till they at least reach 30. You know what I mean? I wasn't even fucking, I'm still not grown up a little bit. I do adult things. But you don't really know yourself till you're in your 30s. You know what I mean? And these people getting married at 18 and 20, you're like, what the fuck? And then they're getting divorced by the time they're 30. Anyway, when you keep following the wrong path, when you keep comparing yourself to others, when you care about that external validation, you're constantly doing the wrong fucking thing. No wonder your life goes to shit. I'm sorry, but it does. You know what I mean? When you go down the wrong path, when the path that's not in alignment because you're so worried about being judged, you end up doing it all fucking wrong. And you have to start again. And obviously that's great because you have, not great, but you have lessons from it. So it's it is actually beneficial in the end. You have to learn how to do it wrong so that you know how to do it right. You know what I mean? So stop doing things the way you always did it and start doing them the opposite. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is it all starts with you. That's the main objective. And I have this on my thumbnail. fly. You have to learn how to fly. First, love yourself. That's that simple. First, love yourself. And you get to such a sense of freedom when you don't give a fuck what other people think of you. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. It really is. You know what I mean? You get to be that free bird. You get to be alone and single. You get to go on dates on your own and you don't give a shit what anyone says because it's okay to do things your way. It really is. Oh, I love rhyming. Love it. Love poetry. Anyway, but this is the whole objective here is stop seeking outside yourself for people who don't even fucking matter. Oh my God, they really don't matter. Because people who judge are fucking arseholes. You know what I mean? Anyone who judges has not done their own fucking healing. They're unevolved human beings. So why the fuck would you care what an unevolved human being thinks of you? Why? And this is what takes us away from our authenticity. You know what I mean? We're afraid to be our true, weird, naughty fucking selves because people are going to judge us. Oh, people judge us anyway. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I get weird when I fucking be authentic. I'm the weirdest person ever when I'm in my truth and in my authenticity. And people don't like it. They don't. I don't give a shit. And I curse as well when I get passionate. And people don't like it either. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I don't. I really don't. You know what I mean? I really don't. You know what I mean? And that's why you get to the stage of your life where you will be your weirdest, most beautiful, most authentic self because you do not care about what people... It's such a sense of freedom. It really is. You know what I mean? Loving yourself is the most beautiful, amazing level of evolution you'll ever get to. It is the most freeing thing you will ever do. It really is. To get to look in the mirror and smile and go, yeah, I love you. Oh, I love me. Woo! You know what I mean? It's fucking awesome. But to not care, not to need... You know what I mean? And the beauty of that then is you can attract authentic relationships based on your high vibrational level of self-love. So when you are attracting low vibrational toxic relationships because you didn't love yourself, no. You're going to go for the opposite. You're in such a high vibe now that you're going to attract in really high vibe people. High vibe friends, high vibe, colleagues, high vibe partners. And imagine being in your biggest, quirkiest, high vibe self and attracting in a partner who's in their highest, vibest, quirkiest, weirdest self as well. And you both come together in mutual weirdness and you just make happy. It's just, yeah. You know what I mean? It's just beautiful. Anyway, so this is all what it's all about. Stop seeking outside yourself for that validation because the only person that should validate you is you. And you get to be free. You get to be in love with yourself, which means you're going to be in love with life and everything around you. And you're not miserable and you're not looking in the mirror going, oh God, don't look at me. And that's genuinely how it was. I'd walk past the mirror side-eye, do you know what I mean? I'd only actually look in the mirror to squeeze a spot or something. That would be it. I didn't even like myself. And it's, I remember yesterday being in Amsterdam crying, looking in that mirror going, I can't say those words because it's a lie. That's what I felt. And now I can say, within a year, I was after, learning the law of attraction and stuff. Within a year, I met those same friends again. And I was like, look, I can do it. I love me. So it does work once you discover what's up. And usually it is your wounded inner child. So if you want inner child healing or help with your inner child healing, book me for a discovery call today because I love the modality of inner child healing. It's my favorite way of getting us to the level we need to be at. It gets you to that, it's the kickstart to your path to self-discovery. That's what it really is. It all starts with loving your inner child, reparenting your inner child. It really is. And that kickstarts your whole self-discovery journey. And you get to discover all those hidden parts of yourself. You know the best thing about it? You get to be childlike again. You get to be free. And that's the beauty of it. The best part of inner child healing is that you get to be a child again. You were told to grow up way too quickly and not be childish. Fuck off. Sorry. But you know what I mean? You get to be free. You get to be your authentic self. You get to just live life with childlike wonder. And, you just love yourself and you don't care what people think. This is amazing. So really, this is the best thing you can ever do. Stop seeking outside yourself when all you need to do, that love, That's right here. All the love you need is right here, right there within you. You don't have to go outside your house. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to serial date ever again, because that love will be inside yourself, and then the right love will find you romantically. So this is it. Find that love within yourself. Learn how to fly. First, love yourself. Please, first love yourself. Please accept yourself for who you are, because you're fucking beautiful. You're so authentic in yourself. That is the part we want to see. That's the part we love. Your authenticity is beautiful. And do not let anyone ever make you doubt that. Stop comparing yourself to others, because you're not like them. You're special in your own right. Let your freak flag fly. Be weird. Be different. Be real. Be you. So, thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path.